चलो देखो अब. So in the last class we stopped at Project Sashakt only. Now there were two more measures that were left. One is 4R strategy, yes or no? And lastly there was a bad bank. देखो 4R strategy तो कुछ नहीं, बहुत ही simple है. This strategy was like recommended by the economic survey 2018 or something, that how they can deal with the NPA. तो just आपको अगर कोई 4R पूछता है तो आपको नाम बस पता होना चाहिए. What does 4R means? First is R means recognition. This is as such, I would say that this is more of a recommendation by the economic survey. Recognition of NPAs transparently. Second, resolution of NPAs of NPAs. Third, recapitalization. We have understood the concept of recapitalization also. Recapitalization of PSBs. And last, fourth is reforms. Is reforms in PSBs. Clear? So the last measure, that is bad bank. Bad bank is kind of, na, we have covered, but still I have to talk about it. NARCL, IDRCL. Let me draw a diagram for you first of all. This structure is somewhat similar to what we have studied under SRIRAM. ARC जैसा लग रहा है? So bad bank is nothing but a very very big ARC. That's it. IDRCL है ना वो. एक और चीज लिख लेना. Basically, this bad bank which have been created in 2021, kind of economic survey recommended in the same way a name known as PARA. This is recommendation of economic survey some years back. PARA, known as Public Sector Asset Rehabilitation Agency. Let us try to understand this, how this bad bank is going to work. Let us try to understand that. See, बनाया नहीं बनाया डायग्राम? देखो, see, banks are piled up with so many NPAs, thousands of crores of NPAs. And you know that one of the drawback of thousands of crores of NPA is that they have to comply with PCR requirements. It is very important that some measures to be taken to address the NPAs and clean up the bank's balance sheet, because bank's balance sheet, once it gets clear, it will help in unlocking the capital which can be used for undertaking fresh lending. This fresh lending will kick off the investment cycle, and this investment, you know that it's having a multiplier impact on the economic growth. This economic growth will generate more resources for the economy, which again can be used for the investment. That's why I mentioned the word virtuous cycle in the last class. Clear? But one of the recent measure, the question has not been asked on this, so it probably can be. See, there is a bad bank which have been created, but this bad bank in our country which is created is composed of two institutions, NARCL and IDRCL. Now, NARCL is an asset reconstruction company, National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited, which will buy the stressed assets from the banks, Now, when you buy these stressed assets from the bank have to get a certain price, yes or no? Bank have to get a certain price. So basically, based on their discussions, negotiations, some price would be discussed, clear, which will be paid by the NARCL to the bank. Now the next thing is, when the price they have to pay, it will be given 15% in cash in the beginning, क्योंकि इतना फंड्स तो होगा नहीं ना. So cash, suppose हमारी बात हुई 100 rupees की. Try to understand. Let me give you again a hypothetical example. The discussion price, negotiated price is 100. So 15 rupees is given to the cash right now. But 85 rupees is not given in the form of cash. It is given in security receipts. Here you have the receipts, and I'll give you once I sell your asset to the investor. So it is like I'll be giving you little later, and it is very obvious यार इतना करोड़ों का पैसा किसके पास होगा. So thereby NARCL will pay 15% of the agreed amount and 85% in security receipts. Now, so NARCL, अब ये वो डाउट हो सकता है कि how NARCL will ensure that price is right, क्योंकि 100 rupees देने के लिए NARCL must be getting something around 120, खुद भी तो कुछ पैसा कमाए. So what is the price? How they will discover the right price? It will be assisted by another organization known as IDRCL. IDRCL is that organization which is actually responsible for the selling of asset. NARCL is not responsible for the selling of asset. NARCL is responsible for the buying of stressed asset. But it is actually the IDRCL. IDRCL know कि यार एक asset A1, A2, A3, यार ये A3 गंदा है, इसको पैकेज करके A1, A2, A3 को पैकेज करके the word which I used, securitization. क्या होता है ना, सिर्फ इकोनॉमी के पेपर में ये अगर आ गया ना, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग टर्म्स इंडिकेट सिक्योरिटाइजेशन, सो इट शुड बी क्लियर टू यू. सो A1, A2, A3. A3 को पता है यार अच्छा नहीं है, लेकिन इसको घुसा देते हैं, बिकॉज A1, A2 इज ब्लू चिप काइंड ऑफ कंपनीज होती है ना, तो एक छोटी सी कंपनी में घुसा दिया, उसके शेयर भी बिक रहे हैं. दिस इज हाउ यू डू द रीपैकेजिंग एंड देन यू सेल इट टू द इन्वेस्टर्स. आप भी, जब मैं बोल रहा हूं, आप जस्ट ट्राई करो, म्यूचुअल फंड जब आप खरीदते हो 100 कंपनीज का उसमें लिव रहता है. आई प्रीटी श्योर यू माइट नॉट बी अवेयर ऑफ द 100 कंपनीज, बस आप टॉप 10 कंपनीज देख लो तो हाँ यार ये अच्छी है एंड आई शुड इन्वेस्ट इन दैट. सो ये लोग भी तो यही है, इनको भी एसेट्स कहां से पता चलेंगे. सो इस तरीके से रीपैकेजिंग करके, इट इज IDRCL दैट सेल्स एंड नोज दैट एट व्हाट प्राइस आई विल बी एबल टू सेल. So thereby IDRCL assists the NARCL in the price discovery, that the assets which you are giving me, it will be something based on this price, and you negotiate with the banks at that particular price. Clear? So once NARCL have got their assets, it will transfer it to the IDRCL. IDRCL will do all that repackaging, securitization and all that assets, sell it to the investors who will give them the money, which will be transferred back to the NARCL, and this remaining amount will be paid to the borrowers, because this 85% will be paid to the borrowers. लेकिन एक डाउट आ गया, एस्टीमेट तो देखो हर कुछ अच्छा होता है, एस्टीमेट किया कि इस एसेट्स की वैल्यू हम 100 निकालेंगे ही निकालेंगे, एंड सर मतलब वी विल गिव इट बैक 100 रुपीज, बट दैट एसेट हैज बीन अंडर सोल्ड और वॉट एवर एट सोल्ड एट अ लोअर प्राइस देन द एस्टीमेट, सपोज 90 रुपीज. अब NARCL ने तो प्रॉमिस इसको 100 किया था, बट इट हैज बीन सोल्ड एट 90 रुपीज. तो अब इसको देने तो वापस 85 है, लेकिन वी हैव जस्ट ओनली, NARCL इज जस्ट हैविंग 75. सो व्हाट विल हैपन नाउ? सो देयर बाय यहां पे क्या आ जाएगा, एक ट्रस्ट इशू बन जाएगा. यस और नो? यहां पे एक ट्रस्ट इशू हो जाएगा कि यार बैंक्स ने प्रॉमिस तो ये किया, लेकिन अब ना मैंने पूरा एसेट देने के बाद हुआ लाइक इतने में मैं बेच पाया. और ट्रस्ट इशू क्यों आता है? क्योंकि इसको ये लग रहा होगा कि इन लोगों ने ना बीच में पैसा खा लिया. दैट देन ओनली द ट्रस्ट इशू कम्स. सो इसीलिए व्हाट गवर्नमेंट हैव डन इट, जस्ट टू एंश्योर द ट्रस्ट ऑफ द बैंकिंग सिस्टम इज होल्ड, गवर्नमेंट हैव क्रिएटेड अ गारंटी फंड ऑफ रुपीज 30,000 crore, which means if the amount received is a shortfall of this negotiated price, it will be compensated from that government fund. It's not like that you will be getting lesser price. No. आप बढ़िया से एनकरेज करो, अपनी बैलेंस शीट्स को क्लीन अप करो. दैट इज व्हाट द गवर्नमेंट इज लाइक. क्लियर? तो कुछ पॉइंट्स इसमें जो मैंने अभी जो like you can write it down, which I haven't spoken. ठीक है, so लिखो. Bad bank structure was announced. Bad bank structure was announced in the budget 2021. In the budget 2021. In line with the recommendations of Economic Survey 2016-17, in line with the recommendations of 2016-17 for setting up of public sector asset rehabilitation agency, for setting up of public sector asset rehabilitation agency. ठीक है, अब देखो वर्किंग तो इज क्लियर. NARCL के बारे में ना कुछ 2-3 पॉइंट्स लिख लो. NARCL के बारे में, it is a bad bank set up by banks to aggregate and consolidate and consolidate stressed assets for their resolution. It is a bad bank set up by banks to aggregate and consolidate stressed assets for their resolution. Next point, registered as an ARC, under the SRIRAM Act, registered as an ARC under the SRIRAM Act. Next point, public sector banks maintain 51% stake. Public sector banks maintain 51% stake. Clear? So public sector banks hold a majority of stake in NARCL. Lastly, acquire the stressed assets in cash in bracket 15% and security receipts in bracket 85%. Security receipts in bracket 85%, comma, which is defined under the security receipts is defined under the SRIRAM Act 2002. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट IDRCL के बारे में लिखो, इंडियन डेट. That's it about NARCL. Now write it down about IDRCL. Indian Debt Resolution Company Limited. Indian Debt Resolution Company Limited. So write it down. Operational entity to manage assets acquired by NARCL and help in the price discovery. Next point, public sector banks and financial institutions will hold a maximum, not majority, will hold a maximum of 49% stake. 49% stake, and the majority stake will be with the private lenders. Next point, IDRCL is responsible for conducting the auctions and selling the debt linked assets, for cash, which will then be used to clear the outstanding dues of commercial banks. ठीक है? So that's it about the NPA. One small topic, that is NBFCs. ठीक है, क्या होते हैं NBFCs? सॉरी, नहीं, हर एक बैंक का इंडिविजुअल थोड़ी नहीं है ये तो एक एंटाइटी है. तुम भी मतलब ये तो चलो गवर्नमेंट बैक्ड भी है, बट एक NARCL एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है. इट्स एन ARC which buys a stressed asset from the bank. ये हर एक बैंक का नहीं है. Set up by the banks, मतलब basically it's a like group of banks, क्योंकि majority of the stake जो किसका है, banks का ही है. इन banks ने मिलके ये बनाया है NARCL. ये इन banks के जो सब साथ में मिलके इन लोगों ने, क्योंकि पैसा चाहिए, it require funds, so these banks come together and created an NARCL that we buy the stressed assets, let's pull down the assets and give it to the IDRCL so that they can sell it. That is by the banks, not individual bank. तभी इसमें आपने बोला, देखो मैंने पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स होल्ड अ मेजॉरिटी, ठीक है, पहले वाले में, और दूसरे वाले में प्राइवेट लेंडर्स होल्ड अ मेजॉरिटी. हाँ बोलो. हाँ बिल्कुल नहीं, NARCL नहीं, IDRCL. और उसमें देखो सबसे खास बात कौन ओनरशिप है, मेजॉरिटी ओनरशिप किसकी है ना. क्लास ऑनलाइन है. ठीक है, बट समझ गए ना, ठीक है. और बताओ बाकी कोई डाउट और. चलो NBFCs कुछ नहीं है, छोटा सा कंसेप्ट है NBFCs. देखो नाम से ही समझ में आ रहा है NBFCs क्या है, नॉन बैंकिंग फाइनेंशियल कंपनीज जितनी भी है, मतलब सिर्फ बैंक हटा दो प्रॉपरली, जितनी भी है दैट ऑल कम अंडर दी NBFCs. चाहे आपका वो मुथूट फाइनेंस, हाउसिंग फाइनेंस कंपनी हो, इवन इंश्योरेंस कंपनी, इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज, इवन दैट इंश्योरेंस कंपनी इज नथिंग बट एन NBFCs because it's a financial company providing financial product. So अब try to understand the word, क्योंकि मैं definition थोड़ी technical type से. NBFCs is nothing but simply those companies which are not bank but providing financial services. Financial, which could be investment also, insurance also, or any other loan based services whatever, but it is not bank. और बैंक की कंडीशन में आपको बता चुका हूं, बैंक को वहां पे scheduled, non scheduled बैंक, क्लियर, वो सब चीजें we have already seen that part. Either a bank is commercial, cooperative, that we have also seen that part. Clear? So if it is not a bank but is still providing financial companies, that will be NBFCs. जैसे कई बार लोग, आपको मैं बता रहा हूं, some of you like might ना, अभी तो चलो IAS अगर नहीं बने तो उसके बाद some of you like might become big CEOs of companies, they you open a hedge fund also. एक अपना ना मिलके एक फंड बना लेते हो, hedge fund टाइप का. So that will also come under this. कि उस hedge fund से what you do, you give loans to the certain people. Yes or no? So thereby, this is like what I am talking about. Whatever is not bank but providing financial services. Financial services clear है, investment, insurance, lending, all that. So all that will be the part of NBFCs. So NBFCs इसका मतलब, sir, it's a very big pool. Yes. NBFCs is a very big pool of companies, a big pool of, you can say, entities. So thereby, one another concept is NBFCs will not be regulated by a single regulatory body. Yes, it will not be regulated by a single regulated body. There will be multiple regulatory bodies regulating the NBFCs of their own sectors. I'll give you the examples also, so don't worry. ठीक है, और फिर एक टेबल में हम डिफरेंस लिख लेंगे NBFCs वर्सेस बैंक्स का. So write it down, definition about NBFCs. Let's wrap it up this part. NBFC is a company. NBFC is a company registered under the Companies Act 1956. Registered under the Companies Act 1956 and engaged in the business of loans and advances. And engaged in the business of loans and advances. अच्छा, जैसे ये बताओ चलो ना, what about this ARC? Is ARC an NBFC or not? Yes, it is providing financial services, at the same time it is a this one NBFC, and this NBFC is regulated by RBI. ARC, ये वाली जो है ARCs. So we were like engaged in the business of loans and advances, comma, acquisition of shares or stocks, acquisition of shares or stock, acquisition of shares or stocks or bonds or debentures issued by government or local authority, or other marketable securities, such as insurance business, chit business, etc., but does not include any institution whose principal activity is that of agriculture, industrial activity, or providing any services and sale or purchase or construction of immovable property, Next point, it is regulated by multiple regulatory agencies. First subpoint, regulated by RBI hyphen, लिख लेना. First subpoint, regulated by RBI hyphen NBFC hyphen MFI in bracket microfinance institutions. NBFC hyphen MFI, that is microfinance institutions, comma NBFC hyphen D in bracket deposit taking NBFCs, comma IDF in bracket infrastructure debt fund, comma CIC core investment companies, etc. Clear, etc. Second subpoint, regulated by SEBI. First subpoint, stock broking companies. Second subpoint, venture capital firms. Third subpoint, merchant banking companies. Clear? Third subpoint, NHB, regulated by NHB, National Housing Bank. तो हाइफन में लिख देना हाउसिंग फाइनेंस कंपनीज. फोर्थ सब पॉइंट, MCA, regulated by MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, hyphen निधि कंपनीज. Clear? Last, fifth, IRDA, IRDA, IRDA इंश्योरेंस रेगुलेटरी डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी. सो क्या होगा हाइफन में इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज. ठीक है. लास्ट एक हेडिंग लिख लेना NBFCs वर्सेस बैंक्स. NBFC versus bank, make 3 columns, 1 column for criteria, second is so criteria, NBFC, banks, like this, write it down like this. So first criteria, एस्टैब्लिशमेंट एक्ट. क्राइटेरिया में लिखना एस्टैब्लिशमेंट एक्ट. तो एनबीएफसी में कंपनीज एक्ट बताया तो मैंने, कंपनीज एक्ट 2013. एंड बैंक्स में बैंकिंग रेगुलेशन एक्ट 1949. 2013. पहले भाई 1956 था, वो अब अपग्रेड होकर 2013 हो गया. सो यू कैन यूज एनी ऑफ दिस. बैंकिंग रेगुलेशन एक्ट 1949. सेकंड एनबीएफसीज. टेल मी, डज एनबीएफसी एक्सेप्ट डिपॉजिट? नो. जब ये क्या है यार, क्या लिखा है मैंने सेकंड में? So what does that mean? That all the NBFCs, try to understand that all NBFCs don't accept deposit, but some NBFC accept deposit. Clear? And in that, even those NBFC accept deposit, they don't accept demand deposit. They only accept time deposit. Clear? So अगर मैं आप ये सोचो, if NBFC don't accept demand deposit, will they be able to issue debit card? नहीं तो आप अभी इसका मतलब डिमांड डिपॉजिट का फील ही नहीं समझो. आप ये समझो, देखो डिमांड डिपॉजिट क्या है. डिमांड डिपॉजिट इज विच आई कैन विड्रॉ इट ऑन डिमांड. आई कैन विड्रॉ ऑन डिमांड इज लाइक आई कैन गो टू द बैंक एंड आस्क गिव मी द मनी. वन ऑप्शन. सेकेंड ऑप्शन इज आई कैन यूज द कंपनीज एटीएम, द बैंक्स एटीएम एंड विड्रॉ द मनी फ्रॉम द एटीएम. व्हाई विल आई गो टू द बैंक? यस और नो? बट यू टेल मी एनबीएफसीज दे डोंट एक्सेप्ट डिमांड डिपॉजिट. जब वो एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं कर रहा है, दैट मींस यू कैन नॉट विड्रॉ ऑन डिमांड एंड दैट मींस इट वोंट इशू द डेबिट कार्ड. क्योंकि डेबिट कार्ड तब इशू करेगा ना जब आपको निकालना है पैसा ऑन डिमांड बेसिस, बट इट इज नॉट हियर. तो ये लॉजिकली आप समझो मतलब ये चीजों को. ठीक है. तो राइट इट डाउन अंडर एनबीएफसी कैन ओनली एक्सेप्ट. क्राइटेरिया इज एक्सेप्टेंस ऑफ डिपॉजिट. एक्सेप्टेंस ऑफ डिपॉजिट. So NBFCs में आप लिखो can only accept time deposit. Can only accept time deposits in bracket no demand deposit. No demand deposit. Banks में accept both demand and time deposit. ठीक है. Banks में accept both demand and time deposit. Third criteria, payment and settlement system. Payment and settlement system. चलो मुझे ये बताओ, is check a form of demand deposit और time deposit? जो हम चेक देते हैं, suppose I owe you some 1 lakh rupees and I gave you that check. Is check a form of demand deposit? Yes? Yes or no? So thereby अब आप समझो NBFCs में पॉइंट लिखो कैन नॉट इशू चेक्स. Yes or no? Isn't it obvious? Cannot issue checks drawn on itself. Cannot issue checks drawn on itself, and thus not a part of payment and settlement system. Thus not a part of payment and settlement system. On the other hand, banks में लिखो can issue checks can issue checks and thus forms part of the payment and settlement system, and thus form part of the payment and settlement system. ठीक है, next point, care requirement. care. Does NBFC also have to comply with care requirement? Yes. And banks तो करती है. We have discussed this elaborately. So दोनों में yes कर देना. One more point, deposit insurance facility. Deposit insurance facility. जैसे suppose if we put our deposits in the bank, is it insured or not? Yes. So this deposit insurance facility is available to the banks, yes, but not to the NBFCs. तो वहां पे NBFCs में if you are putting time deposit, it is not insured. So if that NBFC goes bankrupt, they are not liable to pay you that money. On the other hand, banks में 5 lakh तक I am liable, up to 5 lakh. ठीक है, लास्ट एक और लिख लो चलो क्राइटेरिया, फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट. फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट एनबीएफसीज में 100% एफडीआई. एनबीएफसीज में 100% एफडीआई, बट बैंक्स में एफडीआई अप टू 74%. एफडीआई 100% एफडीआई एनबीएफसीज, और बैंक्स में अप टू 74. ठीक है, डन. सो दिस इज व्हाट अबाउट द बैंकिंग इज. बाकी क्या है ना, देखो बैंकिंग के आपको जितना पढ़ा उतना कम है, सही बताऊं तो. बट दिस इज लाइक द मोस्ट ऑफ द, आई वुड से 90% ऑफ द बैंक्स इज डन. फिर भी छोटे छोटे टॉपिक, जैसे मानो अब एक बैंक एश्योरेंस, आपने ये वर्ड कभी सुना हो? बैंक एश्योरेंस, हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ दिस टर्म? सो ऐसे टर्म आते रहते हैं. बैंक एश्योरेंस, जब आप इंश्योरेंस वाला देखोगे, बैंक प्लस इंश्योरेंस, दिस इज बैंक प्लस इंश्योरेंस. सो बैंक इज ऑल्सो प्रोवाइडिंग द इंश्योरेंस सर्विसेज. तो ये क्या होता है ना, देखो माई पॉइंट इज, जितना जो डिटेल्ड पढ़ना था, वी हैव कवर्ड दैट. नाउ यूपीएससी आस्क्ड 2 टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. इफ यू गो थ्रू द पेपर, यू विल फाइंड आउट, पीवाईक्यूज अगर आप देखोगे, देयर आर 2 टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. One is some detailed part. So detailed is asked mainly related to those questions from economy I am talking about, for which the topic is well known to the students. It's not like the topic is not known. So whatever I have covered here, that suppose even if the detailed question is asked, you will be able to answer that. But apart from that, there are some small terms that will always be in the news. And for that related topics, UPSC simply ask which of the following describes correctly about this term, that type of question. तो आपको क्या होता है ना, ये जो टर्म्स होते हैं न्यूज़पेपर में जो आते हैं, यू शुड बी जस्ट लाइक हैविंग अ गुड आइडिया कि इस टर्म की ये मीनिंग है, अनलेस इट इज डिटेल्ड. अनलेस आपको लगता है नहीं यार ये टॉपिक इंपॉर्टेंट है, देयर कुड बी अ डिटेल्ड क्वेश्चन आस्क्ड. डिटेल्ड मींस मल्टीपल स्टेटमेंट्स. बट सपोज दिस इफ आई टॉक अबाउट बैंक एश्योरेंस, इट इज लाइक सिंपली, अगर आपको पता है कि बैंक एश्योरेंस क्या होता है, दैट्स इट. That will be more than enough for UPSC. इकोनॉमी में बहुत वेल सॉर्टेड है. बाकी एग्जाम्स में अभी भी थोड़ा बहुत, बाकी सब्जेक्ट्स में थोड़ा इशू चल रहा है. मतलब इट्स लाइक, आई वुड से मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री तो इट्स लाइक कंप्लीटली रैप्ड अप, है ना. क्या पढ़ोगे इतनी मोटी सी स्पेक्ट्रम टाइप की, क्वेश्चन ही नहीं आ रहा है. 2 क्वेश्चन आए थे शायद लास्ट ईयर तो, है ना. अब सोचो 2 क्वेश्चन मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री का, और जिसको कितना याद रखना है. एंड आई ऑलवेज से, एंड ऑन द कॉन्ट्रारी, इफ यू सी द इकोनॉमी, उससे कम टाइम भी लगेगा. Very important, if you have understood the concept once, it will take less time for revision also, and with a high accuracy, and the questions will be minimum 18 from this particular subject. So that's why I always say कि modern history को तो आप सबसे last में पढ़ो. In the beginning you should, like suppose if you are planning now अपना कुछ 4 month का या 3 month strategy, whatever you are planning now, it should be like economy, polity in the beginning. If you are running 2 subjects, these are very important, followed by ecology and geography you can take, and then followed by art and culture, science tech, like that part. ठीक है, तो इस तरीके से आप अपना एक कैलेंडर प्लान कर लो कि ये 20 डेज लगेंगे इतने ओवर करने में, लाइक दैट। ठीक है, हाँ अच्छा, हाँ यार वो तो भूल गए यार, वो तो करवाना जरूरी है, उसमें तो क्वेश्चन आने का चांस है। लेट अस फिनिश दिस आईबीसी फर्स्ट बिफोर आई मूव टू दिस। जो इंपॉर्टेंट है दैट शुड बी कवर्ड। आईबीसी, इंसॉल्वेंसी बैंक्रप्सी कोड। Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, which was passed in 2016. Let us try to understand the concept first before we simply write it down the information. देखो प्रॉब्लम कहां आती थी मेजरली, this is a company which is also a borrower, On the contrary, you have a lender who have given the money. Now this lender is also known as creditor. Now let me mention the word here, two types of creditors I used some time back, but I haven't explained that word. There are two types of creditor. One is financial creditor and another is operational creditor. Now what I mean with the financial creditor is the one who have given the loans like that. That is finances, who have provided the finances. On the other hand, operational creditor is like, suppose to run this particular class, I might have taken some amount of some things from the other people. Clear? जैसे मानो आप कभी कोई शादी करते हो तो you might have taken टेंट किसी से लिया होगा या किसी और से ना कुर्सियां ली होंगी, chairs and all that stuff. So what happened? Even you would have said कि यार तेरे को शादी के बाद या 10 दिन के बाद पेमेंट करूंगा, caterers को ही बोलेंगे. Those creditors, so their money is due to us or not? Those creditors are known as operational creditors. तो ये जो ऑपरेशन लिए, जो the purpose of running an operation, for that the amount is due, those creditors are known as operational. On the other hand, one type of creditor that provides finance, that is financial creditor. You get this point? So इस तरीके के दो creditors होते हैं. अब lenders ने मान के चलो इनको लोन दिया है और यहां पे borrowers की जगह एक और वर्ड यूज करो, debtor. Basically borrower is also called as debtor, and the company has to provide the interest payment or installments regularly. Now suddenly this company have stopped giving the payments, and this loan have started to turn into NPA. Now the problem is, how will the company say that okay, I don't have money? Company stopped giving payments and company is like उस पे dues बढ़ता जा रहा है, and why they have not been able to pay? क्योंकि उनका interest coverage ratio जो होगा, will that go more than 1 or less than 1? Very good, clear? इस पे भी क्वेश्चन आया हुआ interest coverage ratio पे. So this interest coverage ratio goes to less than 1 and sometimes even that low that their company is not earning the revenues itself. Now company is not earning the revenues, but their NPA interest payment is getting higher and higher. At the same time dues are getting increased, charges भी लग रहे होंगे तो उनके dues बढ़ते जा रहे हैं. But company is like, यार I don't want to now run this business right now. Company is like, I want to exit from this business. But before the IBC 2016, let me tell you, before IBC 2016 it was very difficult to exit from a business. यार देखो, अगर मैंने कोई कंपनी बना ली है मानो 100 करोड़ की, क्लियर, अब मुझे पता है बस यार मैं थक गया हूं, मैं शायद आगे जो भी करूंगा माय कंपनी वैल्यूएशन इज गोइंग टू डिक्लाइन 80, 70, 60. तो इट्स बेटर ना दैट आई लीव दैट कंपनी राइट नाउ, एग्जिट फ्रॉम दैट कंपनी एंड गिव इट टू समवन. I would be able to get a decent valuation and they might be able to run that well. Yes or no? But earlier में companies, it's very difficult to exit. Like it's very difficult that we say that okay, now we'll stop running this company. Whatever the valuation is there, I will be selling it. ये पहले बहुत difficult होता था before this IBC 2016. One of the reason was there was multiple laws, multiple rules and regulations, multiple. जैसे कहीं आप लोगों ने नहीं सुना होगा अभी सिक्का एंड ऑल, बट अब तो क्योंकि आईबीसी आ चुका है, but simply you just need to know that multiple rules and regulations prevented the exit. Now what is happening? कंपनी ने तो हाथ खड़े कर दिए हैं that I am bankrupt, but he is not allowed to exit. Not allowed. भाई, और आप ये भी सोच सकते हो क्यों नहीं अलाउ करते थे? इशू इज अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट कहां से अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट हो जाएगी? आप एकदम से फायर करोगे 100 लोग 150 लोग, उनकी लाइफ, उनकी फैमिलीज. यस और नो? सो इसीलिए गवर्नमेंट के काइंड ऑफ वो लॉज हुआ करते थे. बट आईबीसी 2016 स्ट्रीमलाइंड द प्रोसेस ऑफ एग्जिट. streamline the process of exit, and it is like, okay, you can exit the company. Basically you can declare yourself as bankrupt. You can declare yourself as bankrupt, and once you can declare yourself as bankrupt, then IBC का एक mechanism start होगा, which I'll discuss right now. IBC का एक mechanism start होगा that how this company will be dealt with. इसका रेजोल्यूशन प्लान हम कैसे बनाएं, अब उसमें कौन कौन से इंस्टीट्यूशंस होते हैं? 4 वेज इंस्टीट्यूशंस है. बट बिफोर दैट आई वांट यू टू राइट टिल हियर. ठीक है, यहां से अभी हम प्रोसेस देखेंगे दैट हाउ दिस आईबीसी मैकेनिज्म इज वर्किंग. बट थोड़ा सा आईबीसी के बारे में लिख लो पहले. So write it down. IBC was introduced in 2016. It was introduced in 2016 that provides a time-bound process. That provides a time-bound process for resolving insolvency in companies. For resolving insolvency in companies and among individuals in order to maximize the value of an asset. In order to maximize the value of an asset. Next point, it covers all individuals. It covers all individuals, companies, LLPs, that is limited liability partnerships. It covers limited liability partnership and partnership firms. Next point, it provides four pillar of institutional architecture. 4 pillars of institutional architecture. First, pillar 1, a class of regulated persons known as insolvency professionals. A class of regulated persons known as insolvency professionals, in bracket IPs, who would handle the commercial aspects of insolvency resolution process. Who would handle the commercial aspects of insolvency resolution process? Full stop. They are regulated by insolvency professional agencies They are regulated by insolvency professional agencies who develop professional standards and code of ethics for such professionals. Next, pillar 2, a new industry of information utilities, who collect, collate, authenticate and disseminate financial information to be used in insolvency, liquidation and bankruptcy proceedings. Next, third, pillar 3, adjudicating authority. First sub point, adjudicating authority के अंदर National Company Law Tribunal in bracket set up under Companies Act 2013. National Company Law Tribunal in bracket set up under Companies Act 2013 bracket close for companies and LLPs. Second subpoint, Debt Recovery Tribunal in bracket set up under RDB Act 1993, if you remember. Set up under RDB Act 1993 bracket close for individuals and partnership firms. And then pillar 4th, come outside of this, pillar 4th, establishment of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Establishment of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India as a regulator to exercise regulatory oversight over IP, that is insolvency professional, comma, IPA, that is insolvency professional agencies, and IU, that is information utilities. अब देखो, how does this work? See, now this company, one suppose it wants to exit the company, this company can take this company to a tribunal. अब ये company है, तो ये company को कौन कहाँ, इसकी adjudicating authority कौन हुई? This company's adjudicating authority is which one? NCLT. देखो एक बार समझ लो प्रोसेस को. Process, although it's not important, but it will help you in understanding IBC. How does it work? So you see, this company के अब ये dues है. There are to the financial creditors, operational creditors. Now this company has raised a hand that okay, I have become bankrupt. I don't have the money. Please don't come to my doors for asking the money and money. I don't feel good to like ask you to shut your mouth and go back. So I don't like to do that every time. I have raised the hand. So what happened? This is either IBC is a very good thing. Either the creditor, any of the creditor or the borrower itself can approach the NCLT. That means even in this case, creditor have also got the power to take the company to the NCLT. Ki let's start your bankruptcy proceedings. If you are not able to pay me the dues, I will take you to the NCLT. Even company says, no, I am not bankrupt. अरे bankrupt नहीं तो पैसे दो. So thereby IBC ने एक अच्छी चीज क्या कर दी? It has given powers to the creditors also to take the company to the NCLT. Companies, और अगर एक इंडिविजुअल bankrupt होता है, इंडिविजुअल पे नहीं करता है, for that suppose for my case I will go to the DRT. ठीक है, चलो कोई बात नहीं. अब जैसे ही कंपनी goes to the NCLT, it is taken over, the management is taken over by insolvency professional. As soon as the company takes over, try to understand, to the NCLT, the management is taken over by the insolvency professional. जब तक, अब यहां से स्टार्ट होता है इनका प्रोसेस. Suppose as soon as it go, the management will take over by the insolvency professionals. They will take care of the management of the company till the time this insolvency proceedings are going on. अब इस insolvency proceedings में क्या होगा? अब there are creditors, there are borrowers and there is an NCLT. ये जो IPs है ना, IPs, they are the professional agency. जैसे CAs है, ठीक है, they are professional in their accounting, auditing part. In the same way, these IPs, they are professionals who prepare a resolution plan in such a way that they maximize the value of an asset. These IPs, they try to come up with the resolution plan in such a way to maximize the value of an asset. So ये जो IP है, they have to make a resolution plan. Within 180 days, तो कई के लिए अब 270 days हो गया. So 270 days they have to come up with a resolution plan, finalize the resolution plan. Up in that resolution plan, again I told you there are two things. Apart from that, there can be other options. That either you want to liquidate the company, जैसे liquidate company, if this resolution plan decided and approved by the NCLT, if it is decided and approved by the NCLT, that resolution plan is final with respect to this company. That means if they have decided, the company will be liquidated, the assets will be given first to the operational creditors, financial creditors and then to the stakeholders. Clear? But इसमें एक issue ये नहीं हो गया कि इसमें it's just like we are more focusing on, this is process is known as, अच्छा पहले इस process को CIRP बोलते हैं, Corporate Insolvency Resolution Professional, नहीं, Corporate Insolvency Resolution Professional word नहीं होना चाहिए, process, sorry, Corporate Insolvency Resolution Process, where the company's management is taken over by the IP. So company's management is getting affected. Try to understand that part. And then they are coming up with a resolution plan with a deadline of 270 days, extended up to 330 days, which has not happened since last 6 years, 7 years. So thereby what happened, resolution plan generally gets delayed. Then the resolution plan which is prepared by these IP with the help of IUs financial information देता है, data देता है, and then to ensure that you don't do any malpractices, there is an IPA. So उसके बाद आपका NCLT है जो final approve करता है. Once it is done and they have decided to not liquidate, let's give them some opportunity to run the company in this particular way. But आप ये बताओ, इस बीच में company management is taken over and that too for 1 year, minimum 1 year हो ही जाता है. अब इसमें आप बताओ कंपनी की वैल्यू डिक्लाइन होगी, कंपनी का जो स्टाफ है विल दे नॉट बी फील अंडर कॉन्फिडेंट कि यार अब कंपनी चलेगी क्या? यस और नो? ऑन द अदर हैंड अगर लिक्विडेट करके आप मैक्सिमाइज करवा पा रहे हो, इट्स फाइन, लेट द ड्यूज बी क्लियर. बट अगर जिसको चाहिए कि नहीं, आई वांट माय कंपनी टू रन विद द हेल्प ऑफ दीज क्रेडिटर्स, व्हाटएवर द सॉल्यूशन दे कम अप विद, दिस इज अ डिसएडवांटेज कि ये ना आप कंपनी का मैनेजमेंट टेक ओवर करके आप रेजोल्यूशन प्लान जब तक बनाते हो वहां पे वो डिसएडवांटेज हो जाता है. इसीलिए दैट्स व्हाई लास्ट ईयर यू माइट अगेन हैव कम अक्रॉस दिस वर्ड नोन एज प्रीपैक. आईबीसी का प्रीपैक बोलते हैं इसको. प्रीपैक मींस देखो नाम से क्या, प्रीपैक। बैंकरप्सी मतलब एनसीएलटी में जाने से पहले ही दे हैव एग्रीड दैट ओके दिस इज अ रेजोल्यूशन प्लान। किसी के साथ बोला होगा कि यार ये रेजोल्यूशन प्लान, ये अप्रूव, ये है। So pre-pack is that they don't have to come up with a resolution plan, they don't have to transfer the management to the IP. Like once they have declared bankrupt, moving towards the NCLT, they are saying that I have a resolution plan which is this. But this resolution plan would be implemented only and only after the approval of NCLT. तो कोई भी resolution plan तभी approve होगा when they कभी implement होगा when they get the approval of NCLT. तभी वो एडजुडिकेटरी अथॉरिटी का पर्पस है, एडजुडिकेटिंग टू टेक अ डिसीजन। अब इसमें एडवांटेज क्या है प्रीपैक में? एडवांटेज इज फास्टर इंप्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ अ रेजोल्यूशन प्लान, द मैनेजमेंट इज नॉट अफेक्टेड। सो सपोज इवन इफ द कंपनी वांट्स टू इंप्लीमेंट और सपोज वॉट एवर द रेजोल्यूशन प्लान दे वांट टू इंप्लीमेंट, दे आर लाइक क्विकली डन। लेकिन इसमें एक बुरी चीज क्या है, माल प्रैक्टिसेस हो सकती है, नहीं हो सकती थी प्रीपैक में। मतलब सपोज मैंने किसी अपने रिलेटिव के रिलेटिव को बोला कि तुम इस तरीके से प्लान ले आओ, इस तरीके से कंपनी सस्ते में बाय कर लो। अभी जो कंपनी 100 करोड़ की है, मैं तो बोला तुम सस्ते में बाय कर लो 20 करोड़ में, 20 करोड़ में, और 20 करोड़ दे दो तुम फाइनेंशियल क्रेडिटर्स को। सो ही गॉट द कंपनी, ही विल बी रिवाइविंग इट, द क्रेडिटर्स गॉट 20 CR, लेफ्ट विथ नो ड्यूज एंड ऑल, सब कुछ एग्रीमेंट सेटल्ड हो गया। So pre-pack is good for faster resolution, but there is an issue of malpractice also. That's why it needs to be approved. अब NCLT कितना अच्छे से काम करता है वो फिर डिसाइड करते हैं। तो ये प्रीपैक है। सिंपली अगर आपको प्रीपैक पूछ ले कि क्या होता है और लाइन लिखनी है तो 3-4 लाइनें लिख लो प्रीपैक के बारे में। इट इज एन एग्रीमेंट, प्रीपैक इज एन एग्रीमेंट, बॉक्स में लिख लेना ज्यादा बेटर रहेगा। प्रीपैक इट्स एन एग्रीमेंट for the resolution of the debt of a distressed company, for the resolution of the debt of a distressed company through an agreement between secured creditors, and investors instead of a public bidding. Next point, after such agreement such system require the approval of the resolution plan. Such system require approval of the resolution plan from the National Company Law Tribunal. Last one more point. This was introduced in IBC. Based on the recommendations of MS Sahu Committee. ठीक है, डन। ये मेनली वैसे आईबीसी से ही बताओ, सीए वालों के एग्जाम के लिए ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, बट हमारे लिए ये है कि चलो एक ब्रॉडली व्हाट इज लाइक एन आइडिया कि हाउ मतलब दिस वर्क्स ओवरऑल, बट नॉट दैट इंपॉर्टेंट। अभी तक एक क्वेश्चन ना नीदर इट हैज बीन आस्क्ड इन प्री, नीदर इट हैज बीन आस्क्ड इन मेंस। मेंस में तो चलो बैंकिंग आता नहीं है, बट प्री में भी अभी तक नहीं पूछे आईबीसी से। प्रीपैक है, प्रीपैक आ जाए शायद इस साल, लास्ट ईयर जैसे वो आया न्यूज में काफी था। सो प्रीपैक कुड बी आस्क्ड। और सीआईआरपी क्लियर होना चाहिए। सीआईआरपी इज, जैसे इसको ना ऐसे बोलते बेसिकली, ये जो वर्ड्स ना सीआईआरपी, पीपीआईआरपी। सीआईआरपी मींस कॉर्पोरेट इंसॉल्वेंसी रिजोल्यूशन प्रोसेस, पूरा वही प्रोसेस कि management will be taken over by the insolvency professional. They will come up with a resolution plan within these days, will be approved. फिर NCLT adjudicate final कर देगा, then it will be implemented. Pre or PPIRP means Prepack insolvency resolution plan. Faster and ensuring the management remains in the hands of the company itself and no disturbance.